All right, so it's been probably about a month since I made a video, but the reason for that is I finally finished my first book, The Power of Purpose by Les Brown. And in the past, I have read books before. I mean, it's not that I can't read, it's just that I don't really remember the last time that I fully started a book and then finished it within a relatively short time. So this book took me about I think it was about two and a half weeks, almost 3 weeks. And that might be slow. I mean, there was only about, 247 pages. But at the same time, I was also taking notes. So, for example, I have some notes here. I got about, a decent amount of notes here, maybe about 15 pages maybe. So if I were to just straight up read the book without any notes, I think I probably could have done it in maybe a week or maybe a week and a half. But I don't know, something told me that I felt like I wanted to kind of take notes while I was reading the book, just to kind of memorize it better and just learn better, because I don't want to just speed read and just kind of forget about it. So yeah, I'm just gonna say that, it's probably been over a decade since I've actually started a book and then fully finished it. Now, in the past over 10 years, right, I've definitely started a book and then probably went halfway, or maybe sometimes I'd only get to the second or third chapter, and then I kind of just forgot about it, and then that's it. I just never went back to it. So what I did differently this time was I was going to be committed to, pretty much the goal was only to do 1 hour or one chapter a day. And, I kind of just made it a habit, pretty much right after. So after I come back from work, I'll go to the gym. And then right after that, I'll just read. No matter what, I'll just try to read for at least 1 hour a day. And actually what happened was, there were some days where I read 2 or 3 chapters, which ended up being maybe 2 or 3 hours of reading. And that's mainly just because I kind of got into the book, and maybe I had a little bit more energy, because some days, every day after the gym, I'm always pushing myself to the limit. But I don't know, some days I just kind of feel better or something, some days it's just in life in general. Some days you just feel better, or you feel you have more energy. So when those days happened, I just read longer, or maybe I just really got into the book. I don't know. So this is the first book I've read this year, but also, what is it? It's the 21st today of January 2026, and I'm gonna be telling you, pretty much ever since I started reading, actively again, like I said, it's been over 10 years. Honestly, my perspective has really changed. A lot of things have changed my life over the last 3 weeks, and I'm gonna be kind of explaining them right here. So, in the book, Les Brown, The Power of Purpose, I'm going to say there's 17 chapters in total. And I would say my favorite chapter was probably chapter 9, the actual name of the book, the title of the book, The Power of Purpose. That's the title. But it's also chapter 9. So so the reason why I like that one, my favorite, let me just check my notes real quick here. And I actually wrote down, when I wrote down the chapter, I made sure that I wrote, if you check here, I have the little number, the number of the actual page. So I just pretty much copied it off of the book, just so I could go back to it. But for example, The Power of Purpose, right? So chapter 9. So a little bit here that I read in my notes. It was number 88, page 88. If you actually have this book yourself, you can, I mean, it was only $10 on Amazon. And you could look at it yourself if you want, if you're interested. I definitely was. I think I actually looked at the book a long time ago, but I just never really bought it, you know. So page 88, it says, when you start looking at what it takes to commit to giving your best at all times, it's clearly not easy. Yet those are the standards you are setting yourself, because that's who you are. Remember that integrity is what matters to give your life meaning. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Like, you know, as everyday people, you know, we're all trying to figure out, you know, what we want to do on this planet. What kind of career path are you going to choose? What kind of like job you're going to have, right? Maybe it's not necessarily your purpose, but maybe you're good at it. But in this case, for this book, right, I was kind of curious, like, how does one find their purpose? So pretty much I was thinking, like, integrity, that does kind of make sense though, you know, like, okay, so if I'm using integrity, it's something that I kind of like, I respect, and it's something that I could see myself doing. So on 2 more pages later down the line, page 90 now instead of 88, I wrote down here, the next critical option that will enable us to live our lives with purpose and meaning is to decide to live each day with integrity. Don't try to get something over in life. Don't try to cheat. Cheating is so easy. Instead, take the long route. And I kind of really resonated with this because, you know, a lot of the times in life, people might want to take like a shortcut, or they just kind of want to like cut on the corner. You know, they're like, well, I don't really want to do the hard work or put in the hard work. I'm just going to like cut the corner and, you know, call it a day. But, you know, when you think about that, if that's really what you're trying to do in life, I mean, you know, you kind of get back whatever you put into the world, right? So if you're just cutting corners all the time, I don't know if this is really a good idea, especially if this is like your purpose. This is like the path or career that you're trying to go down. You know, you probably want to have a little bit more integrity with yourself, and just, you probably want to have it a habit to, you know, just do the hard work. It's okay, you know? And here's the thing. Once you keep doing the hard work, right, essentially, once you start doing it every single day, it's not even hard work anymore, because you're also learning, you're programming and training your mind based on these habits. I mean, that's really all it is. I mean, hard work, sure, but like, there's different forms of hard work. There's like physical hard work, there's mental hard work, right? Spiritual hard work. I mean, there's so many different forms and reasons for that. But, you know, let's see. Here's another thing that I kind of want to look at. Let's see. So on page 92, I put down, decide your life to something in order to create meaning and purpose in your life. You must dedicate your life to something bigger than you. What is it? What is your why? So, you know how like people always talk about, like, you got to make your dream or your purpose bigger than you? So for a long time, I didn't really understand that. I was like, what is your why? Like, what does that even mean? And then further research from this book, I kind of like did my own separate research while I was reading the book, and then also taking notes, and then kind of like going to different avenues or different like other books or other scripts, or maybe like looking up some YouTube videos. And I kind of was just thinking, like, I think I finally get it now. So when someone says like, what is your why? It's like, what is your reason that no matter what happens, because, you know, you're going to have like the ups and downs, and things always happen in life. It's not like life is always just going up or always going down, right? Like, it's a roller coaster. So if you have this dedicated reason bigger than yourself, then when it happens, when you're kind of like on a shaky road, or you're kind of like not as confident, right? In like, ah, man, is this even worth it? Like, should I even keep pursuing my goal? Like, what is the point? Then if you have this reason, then you're almost kind of like letting someone down. So for example, my reason, I have two reasons. So the first reason for my why would be, I really want to do it so that so that my parents could be proud of me. And maybe this seems kind of like, oh, like, why do you really care about that? Or you should do it for yourself or something. But the whole point of it is, I kind of want to do this because I feel like pretty much my whole life, I kind of just centered my life on me, which, I feel like is kind of a little bit selfish. I mean, I think at the same time, it is good to focus on yourself, right? Because it is your life. But at the same time, like, my parents are a lot older now. They're like in their like late 60s, early 70s. So like, I don't know. I kind of want to just make something more worthwhile, and not just have it just centered around me. But the other reason, my second why is like, I kind of want to really do it for, like, I want to expand, because I really do feel like I have some kind of ability or skill with speaking. And, I'm still obviously practicing and, I'm making these videos right here, right? Talking to you guys. But honestly, like, I already have talked to like hundreds of people on stage. I go to a junior college and I already kind of like, I've been to like tournaments where we have like debates or we're like talking, maybe it's like a prepared speech that you have for like a couple months, and then you talk and you're like competing with other people. Or maybe it's like an improv where like you have no idea what the topic's going to be, but then it's like a speed round of like 1 to 2 minutes, and you just explain like whatever the topic is, whoever picks the topic, like whatever the staff, they pick or the judges, they pick they pick out of like a hat or something, and then you just go for it. I mean, it's really all a repetition and a practice, but pretty much like, I want to do it because I feel like one of my second why is like, I have this dream of like being a professional speaker. And, it is still kind of weird that I'm saying that right now, because it's like, come on, speaking as a professional speaker. But at the same time, I started doing these like affirmations, and for a while I didn't really believe them, but I'm not gonna lie, there's like these affirmations in this book, and I just started doing them, and like the craziest thing is just like, it just started kind of like, the way I think is like, yeah, I'm a professional speaker, even if I'm not yet. But like, something about it, it's like when you tell yourself this, then it's like you actually change what you think about. Because a lot of the times you might think, well, this has been quoted and said by many scholars, right? Old school scholars, like Earl Nightingale said this, where he said, whatever you think about is what you're going to pursue. Obviously not exactly word for word verbatim, but there's been like other people like that back in the past. I'm also going to be talking about the next book, about Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That's the next book I'm going to be reading. And I'm not going to lie, like, all this stuff is just so, I never thought I'd be excited to be reading a book, but it's actually kind of cool. Like, I'm just learning all this stuff, and it's so cool. So a little bit farther in this, in chapter 9 of The Power of Purpose, right, by Les Brown, but chapter 9 is actually titled The Power of Purpose. So, let's see. Actually, no, sorry. Now we're moving on to chapter 10, The Power of Deciding to Act. My bad. So there's reasons why people struggle to make decisions and act. So on page 104 I'm going to give a list. So I think there's Yeah, 5. There's 5 different lists. There's a list of 5, and it explains why a lot of people struggle. So, because it's the power of deciding to act. So, first is personal responsibility. So, you know, I could see that kind of being a problem even in my own life, you know? Like, I mean, come on. If you think about it, usually you don't really want to do anything because it's like, it's too responsible. You don't want to, usually people just want to chill and they don't want to worry about anything. But honestly, if you can master this and just take accountability and just take responsibility and just do it, whatever you need to do in life, things just become so much easier. I mean, I'm just telling you right now, like, sometimes you just got to throw yourself into the fire. You know, just kind of get out of your comfort zone and just make the leap. You know, just do it. Trust me. So, the second one is lack of self-confidence. So, obviously, this one can be a really big one, too, because I feel like for so long, too, I didn't even believe myself as, like, a speaker or, like, you know, that's kind of like one of my goals I want to be, to speak on stage and kind of, like, you know, I really want to, like, motivate people, and I want to really show them that, you know, it doesn't really matter. Like, look at me. I'm over here just taking, like, some random notes, like, you know, I feel like I did pretty good, but, you know, at the same time, I never did this before. So this is a learning curve for me. This is like me getting out of my comfort zone. But honestly, it's like fun though. Like, I don't know. I just thought, what would happen if I just started reading? Like, let me just read. Like, my goal, it was funny, the beginning of this year, which it's still early on, was just to read 3 books a year. I know, like 3 books a year. But for me, that would have been impressive because, like I said, over the last decade, probably longer, I don't even remember the last time I legit finished a book. So the fact that I just kept to my goal and stayed dedicated, I mean, it's kind of crazy. But hey, we're here now. Week 3 in 2026, and we already read a book. So, with notes too, by the way. So anyway, so we got 1, personal responsibility. 2, lack of self-confidence. 3, people want other people's approval. Now, that's a big one. Now, me, I'm 35 now. I don't really care about, like, approval as that much. But I'm not gonna lie, I still have it. You know, I still want self-approval. But here's the thing. When it's something like that I'm already into, let's say like I like going to the movies, going to the movie theaters, right? Just to like chill. And, you know, I don't really care about people's self-approval when I'm talking about just like my own hobbies. Like, oh, I'm going to go see this movie. If nobody wants to see the movie, like, for example, I really love Dune. But if someone is like, oh my God, you like Dune? That's stupid. Like, I'm not going to care, right? Because to me, it's just like a hobby. I don't really care. Now, if we're talking about like my goals in life in terms about like me becoming a professional speaker and like talking on stage and even making these YouTube videos, I mean, I'm kind of like half and half. Like, half of it, I don't really care what people think. But the other half, I'm kind of like, well, I kind of should care. Like, I do care because I want to get better, right? But at the same time, I mean, I'm not too like nervous about, oh my God, how do I speak or what do I sound like? I'm just like going with the flow, man. Honestly, it's just fun. Like, it's fun, but I'm doing it also in the act of like, if I keep doing it, eventually it's going to be easy. It's going to be like second nature. So, the 4th one is crisis situation. So, I can see how this kind of like makes sense in terms of like how a lot of people, they struggle with acting, right? And when I'm saying acting, I'm saying like an act of like trying to do something, you know, because like, you know, you could read all the knowledge, research everything in whatever field of like career path you're trying to do, or like, let's say you're learning about how to be a lawyer or something. I mean, that's kind of more advanced, but you know, let's just say like a car mechanic, right? So let's say you do all the research, you look up a lot of videos on like how to be a car mechanic, but then when it takes time to take the action, you like just freeze and you don't know what to do. You're like, well, I've never like built a car, so like I know I read books on it or I started looking up videos and researching, but like I don't know if I can actually like build a car. Like, I don't know. Like, is that possible? Like, I do believe that that's probably the hardest step to take, taking the action. But, you know, there's actually, I'm just thinking about it. There's another book that I'm going to read too. I don't know what's going on, but I'm telling you, I just like reading right now. I don't know. Anyways, there's another book just real quick that talks about these like leaps that you're trying to do. So like when you're taking the action, the whole point of that, why, if you're scared to take the action, this means you need to change your paradigm shift. So I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that, but I'm going to make a video on that once I read the book. It's about, I think it's like understanding paradigm shifts. And it's just like, when I heard that, I was like, what the hell is that? But I don't know. I just thought it was like really interesting. So I'm going to make a video of that later. I don't know how long that's going to take because I still need to read my second book, which is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. You guys probably have heard of it. I mean, it's a pretty popular book. Now, if you are like me from before, I never really heard about any of these books because I never really read. So if you're in that boat, all good. I'll fill you in. So without further ado, let's go on that fifth one. So now this one, rock bottom. So this one says, some people have to lose everything in order to understand what they need to do to change their life and rise. So that's page 107 in the book, Les Brown, The Power of Purpose. Yeah. So honestly, this one makes a lot of sense. This one like really kind of like, I feel like I really connect with this specific number, right, in the list. Like out of the fifth one, this is number 5. And honestly, this kind of happened to me. So, pretty much what happened was like, it was about, maybe about, let's see, was it 3 months ago? I think it was like 3 months ago in like literally like October, but it kind of like didn't really hit rock bottom until like November. So we're just going to say like 2 to 3 months, like 2 to 3 months. I legit hit rock bottom where like I didn't have any money in my savings. I lost legit everything. And I'm thinking to myself like, wait a minute, I've been working for like, you know, let's see, since I was 20, I'm 35. So I've been working for like 15 years, just a regular 9-to-5 job, you know. I mean, nothing wrong with that if you can get by. But like what started making me realize that this is like, wait a minute, I'm like, I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. But then once I started like analyzing and just thinking about it, I was thinking like, you know what, like maybe this 9-to-5 thing really ain't it. Like, I feel like I need to do something else. Like, because it's like, I felt like I was doing what I was supposed to do. I felt like, you know, I was making sure I was taking responsibility. I was taking action. I was doing, like, I've had like 3 or 4 different jobs in the last 15 years. Like, I kind of like stick to jobs for a long time before I really like move. Because I want to give it a chance. I don't want to just work for like 6 months and then just bounce to the next one. Like, I want to stay at least like, you know, 2 to 3, maybe like 4 years. I mean, my first job when I worked at FedEx, I worked for 8 years and I stayed there. That was a little too long, but you know, it was my first job. I was a lot more shy back then. I didn't really talk to anybody. I didn't have any confidence in myself, no self-confidence. I didn't really think I could do anything better. So this is kind of like this whole book, like The Power of Purpose, this whole book literally relates to me. Like I feel like there's so many things that resonated in this book, but this one specifically, like rock bottom, like literally, this really, you know, it really resonates with me. Like some people have to lose everything. And that's, technically I still have a car and I still got clothes and, you know, I still got food and all that. But in terms of my savings, I legit had like a good amount. I had like over 5 G's. I'm not going to say how much it was, but I had over $5,000 that I saved up in like 3 or 4 years. I don't know if that's good or not, but that's just working like a normal 9 to 5. And I just like saved like a couple $100 or $200 every month, and I just couldn't believe it. I lost so much money, and I don't even know what happened. It's just, man, I mean, there are some situations that happen, but it's just like, it really isn't a safe thing. You know, like, I'm probably thinking like most people, right? If you work just a 9 to 5, you're thinking like, well, this is the safe route, right? Like, I work a 9 to 5, I'm paying my bills, I'm going to work at 40 hours a week, right? Full-time, normal 40 hours a week. And I'm thinking like, well, I guess I'm safe. But no, because I hit rock bottom and I lost it all. And thankfully, I'm kind of recuperating back a little bit. But like, I just had this like epiphany, or this realization of like, this is kind of like when I started like researching and just doing other things. I was thinking like, what can I do? And I'm not here to just make money like a quick rich scheme, right? Like, oh, I can make like $1 million in like a month. No, I'm not going to do that. Obviously, I know that's not real. But like, I stumbled upon this book, and I was thinking like the power of purpose. And it literally says on the bottom here, you know, sorry, it's a little backwards. How to create the life you always wanted. And I thought, is that actually possible? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm like a late bloomer. Maybe I waited too long. Like, I'm already 35. But then I was thinking like, you know, I have all these experiences. I mean, why not? I mean, I feel like I could do stuff. And you know, like Les Brown in the book, if you guys don't know who he is, he was a very good professional speaker. And he was like a motivational speaker. He was a teacher, entrepreneur. I mean, he did a whole bunch of things. But pretty much at the end of it, he was obviously good. And there was like a lot of things that he said that was really cool and really inspiring. You know, like, for example, let's see. Okay. So here on page 113, it's still in the same chapter, chapter 10, the power of deciding to act. So number one, so page 113, he says, okay, let's see. Oh no, that's 112. So, finally ask yourself, how will you feel after taking this action? When you take action, you're going to have to have some second thoughts. As long as you feel it was the right thing to do, then own it. Let yourself deal with what comes after. So pretty much like, I mean, that's a reference to, you know, taking action and just kind of like doing it, pursuing whatever you need to do. But he's saying here kind of like, before you even take the action, like if you're still struggling with taking the action, you have to physically, I mean, you have to mentally visualize the goal of like where you see yourself being. So like, let's say sometime in the future, like for me, I have to envision and visualize myself actually being on stage and talking in front of thousands of people. And that I'm also going to be like a teacher, and I'm like going to be really good at it. So like, even though if it's not happening right now, you visualize it, right? You take this like picture in your head, in your brain, and visualize yourself actually on stage, or whatever it was. If it was like the car mechanic, maybe you're like a professional car mechanic. You did the training. You did the research, you read the books, you watched the videos, but you never like did the actual training. Like you never took action. But like, if you're struggling with that, he's saying that you envision it first. So you envision yourself actually building a car or fixing a car, if that's your goal. Whatever your goal is, you envision it. And then slowly you kind of like build this confidence around you becoming that person. And it's kind of like a little bit tied into like affirmations. Like if you say every morning, like, hey, I am a professional car mechanic. Or for me, I'll say, I am a very great speaker. So like, at first it kind of seems a little stupid. Like, I don't know if this is going to work, but it's just, honestly, what do you have to lose? Just try it yourself. Try like a couple affirmations. You can even watch like a YouTube video, and it's just so powerful. Like, I didn't even believe it could happen, but it's like once you start saying it and you start believing what you're saying, right? Like, oh, I am a great public speaker, or I am a great professional speaker. It's like, what would I do as a professional speaker? So like, I would start acting and start moving and walking as if I was already a professional speaker. So what would that life look like? And essentially, this is what happens. So your whole life literally changes. And your confidence, now you have confidence a little bit more than before, because now you're thinking like, yeah, I am a professional speaker. So what would a professional speaker do? And it's like you're slowly getting up to that like actual level. Like, obviously you don't have the job, maybe you don't dress like them, but you do think like them. Like, you, and I'm telling you, you have to believe it. You can't just say I am a professional speaker and then like, okay, screw it, I know it's not really real. You have to like fully immerse yourself and believe it. And I'm telling you, after about the 4th day, it only took like 4 days of actually saying it and believing in it, and it's like it just started, like, it's like this beam of energy, beam of light that I was just like, wow, why do I feel so good? Like, it's so crazy. But anyways, so now we're on 113. So I would say, so he wrote down, write down 3 strong reasons why you know you must take action. Be explicit and descriptive in your reasons, because your reasons have power. Your reasons don't drive you when you have doubt. Ooh, see what I mean? Your reasons don't drive you when you have doubt. So you have to be specific. Whatever it is that you're going to do, be specific. So let's see. I want to look at another chapter here. Okay. Chapter 11 is the power of self-awareness. I mean, honestly, let me just show you real quick again in the book. So, the contents in here, which are the chapters. So, you know, you could probably pause the video and see for yourself. But we have like all these chapters here, you know. Right? And then, let's see. We got these more. So there's 17 chapters in the book. It's not a long book, but it is a cool little thing right there, right? So you can check them out right there. Maybe pause the video if you want. But yeah. So let me see. Power of self-awareness. Maybe I'll just read a couple of things in here. Let's see. Keep reading. Finally, rewards on TikTok. Okay, no. Oh, I like this one right here. So, let's see. What page is that? So that is, okay, the power of self-awareness. So, chapter 11, page 126. Here it says, write down the worst things that you fear could happen. Naming your fears puts you in control. What are you afraid of? Name it, write it out. So you can look at it, confront that fear. What is it? So kind of like, what I like about this one is, it's kind of like saying, you know, like everybody's obviously got fears, right? But the whole point of this book, right? The whole point of this book is to, it's like you're essentially like destroying the fear. So like the fear, you're facing it front on, right? Front on. And now it won't have any power over you because now you're taking control. So, you know, you could say like, for example, there's like this little thing where like Les Brown, he kind of like, he asks questions about what is your fear? And then like someone else, you know, kind of like, he's talking to someone else and then Les Brown will keep persisting. Like, okay, what else? What else? So let me just read it to you real quick. And this is on page 126 if you're reading along. So it says, I'm afraid of rejection. And then Les Brown says, okay, what else? I'm afraid that I don't know how to create multiple streams of income. What else? I'm afraid I don't know how to start a business. Okay, good. What else? I'm afraid that people won't understand me, what I'm saying. Actually, I just realized in my own notes, I added my own fears. Okay, so sorry about that. I added my own fears. But yeah, let's see. I'm afraid that I won't be able to quit my 9-to-5 job. Okay, what else? I'm afraid that I will run out of money while chasing and working towards my dream. See what I mean? Like, those are actually... So, even though I'm thinking, like, from, like, before, like, oh, if I hit rock bottom, like, I know this isn't going to work for the rest of my life anymore. Like, I need to do something else. So then I was like, yo, okay. So I gotta actually, like, I like that little kind of like, it's like a little practice with yourself. Like, what are your fears? Write them down. And, you know, you kind of feel bad about it. But, like, if you confront them and you face it head on, eventually they won't be fears anymore. Because at least you're, like, confronting them face on. I mean, just think of, like, a real fear that you have. And then if you face it, like, let's say you have a fear of heights, right? But then you keep actively practicing to go on top, like going on a roller coaster and just like going on the ride. Like, you're like, who cares? You just go for it, right? Eventually, if you keep doing it, you're not going to be afraid of it anymore. And it's going to be like easy. Like, man, why was I even afraid of that? That wasn't even that bad. You know what I mean? So like, that's the whole purpose of it. So eventually you just do it. And also this kind of goes back to like the paradigm shift that I brought up a little bit earlier. But here I'm not going to go into depth in it, but pretty much it's like every single person has a paradigm, right? It's like a box, and this is like your comfort zone. And eventually when you take action into something you've never done before, the whole point of it is you're shattering your current box, your current comfort zone, right? The box that you're in, the paradigm you're in, and you're shattering it. And now that you took action, like, oh my God, I used to be afraid of heights, but now I'm taking action, going on the roller coaster, and you jump out and you shatter your current paradigm, and now you're jumping out, and now you created a new paradigm. So now, essentially, what this book is trying to say is, like, it doesn't really explain the paradigm shift, but it's still kind of related. So the whole point of it is you face your fears. You're breaking and getting out of your comfort zone, and now you create your new reality. And essentially, it's like you're not even stuck anymore. And now you're literally trying something different. You're not doing the same thing that you did before. You're trying something different. And now because of this, guess what? You have different results. And from these different results, this is how you essentially move up the ladder in terms of your goal. Whatever your goal is, you're trying to be a car mechanic, I'm trying to be a public speaker, you will rise up, and guess what happens? Now you're on this higher level of frequency where people can now reach your level. So before, you're like down here, and you're like, why can't I grow? Why can't I grow? Let's say like down here is you only have the skills for a 9-to-5 job. But once you go up here, it's like now you could be your own boss. You create your own business and people work for you. So it's like a whole nother paradigm shift. You're literally leveling up in the real world. It's kind of like a video game. Like, you level up, and now this is your new norm. Instead of down here, your new norm is up here now. And it's like, you just like, you can't go back anymore, because now it's like you have all this knowledge and you're like, why would I ever go back? And the whole goal of this is to, when you're facing your fears, right? Like in this book, the whole point is to do it as fast as possible, as many times as possible, in a short amount of time as possible, so that eventually you could reach your goal of living out your dreams or your purpose faster. Because like, imagine if you can get there in like 20 years instead of like 40 years, right? I mean, most people, this stuff that I'm talking about in this book, most people aren't even doing that. They're just doing their normal 9 to 5, and that's it. They, maybe they go to college, but then they don't even get the job of the degree that they went to school for. Like, make that make sense. I don't know. But, maybe they were just afraid, maybe it goes back to fear. So this is why, like, it's so powerful. You got to, like, really learn this. So, let's see. I want to check out another chapter for you guys. Power of Self-Approval. That's chapter 12. I mean, honestly, I would recommend this book anyways, because there's a lot of good things in here. I don't want to, like, talk about the whole book, but, let's see. Be upfront. Let's see. No. Chapter 13, the power of self-commitment. Yeah, well, keeping your commitments are good. I mean, everything's good in this book. Honestly, like, keeping your commitments, obviously, right? Because then you're a more trustworthy person. People want to work with you more because you set a goal. You said you were going to do something, and then now you stuck with it. That was just like a quick summary, The power of self-fulfillment. Maybe I'll talk about that one. Okay, let's see. That's chapter 14. Let's see. Challenge your fears. We already talked about that. Page 184. I wrote down, if you're not willing to risk, you can't grow. Wow, that's really powerful. Life has no power when you're not willing to risk. Man, okay, so then 185. But risks must be taken because the greatest hazard in life is to risk nothing. Ooh, okay. And then also I wrote down too a little note here was, only a person who risks is free. Wow. Okay, that's really cool. So this kind of like, a lot of people in life probably don't want to take risks. They probably want to take the least amount of risks as possible. But when you're talking about like your purpose, like what you're trying to do in life, right? And you're trying, essentially, what do most people want in life, right? They want to be free, financially free. They want to be able to do whatever they want to do, right? And they don't really want to be in control of like anyone. I think people actually want to have autonomy over their own life. I mean, maybe I'm not speaking for everyone, but I feel like that's probably true. And, like, that's the thing, though. This is why it's like a catch-22, because, like, people, they say they want to have, like, full autonomy over their life, or they want to have true financial freedom, but then they don't take any risks. Like, you have to take some risks on your life. And, you could take calculated ones and stuff, but if you think about anyone in life that is successful, I mean, you have to take the risk, right? So, honestly, because I already hit rock bottom 2 to 3 months ago, I'm kind of going all out on this now. Like, I mean, obviously I'm still working a 9 to 5, but, just because I kind of have to do that in the meantime. But, like, I'm learning, I'm reading, I'm studying. I'm trying to figure out what I really have to do to just get to the next level. And there's no, like, cheat code or anything. To me, it's just, like, you just have to, like, keep reading. So instead of just, like, going back home and, like, after the gym, I just, like, play video games. Instead of doing that, I'm just reading now. And I don't know why, but for some reason, I'm, like, addicted to reading now. I mean, like I said, I never did it before. But, I mean, it's so cool learning all these things. And, like, I really do believe that if I really put these implementations into practice from these books, right? And this is just the first book. Imagine all the other books I read. Then, like, I really do believe I can live my life of, like, true financial freedom. I mean, honestly, and here's the thing, reading is pretty cheap. I mean, I mean, who doesn't have $10, right? This is cheaper than like having a meal. I mean, meals nowadays are like 20, 30 bucks. So like if you don't got $10 for a book, whew, yeah, I mean, that's a real struggle, I'm not gonna lie, but you probably got $10 for a book. I mean, come on. So let's see. Yeah, okay. Let me dimension. Okay, so I'm gonna look at the power of motivation, chapter 15. So, I like this one. So, so he defines, Les Brown defines motivation this way. I mean, I don't know if that's the official way, but on page 197, he says, I define motivation as the desire to achieve that which you believe to be worthwhile. And, I believe in that, to be honest. Like, I believe that. Whatever you believe, and then whatever's worthwhile for you, right? That's the motivation. And then on page 204, I wrote down, you've got to learn to stand up for yourself, inside yourself, and override that conversation that's always going on. And then it says here, 85% of what that conversation will tell you is negative. Isn't that crazy? 85% of your thoughts, your own thoughts, are negative. And you could real quick understand why the world is how it is. I mean, there's this guy I've been listening to. It's not in this book, but there's this guy called Bob Proctor, and he pretty much, he in his book and his research, he talks about that 96% of the world shares the same income. Like, I mean, sorry, not the same income. They share the same wealth, like, collectively. And the reason for that is mainly because they're listening to 85% of the negative thoughts. Because, I mean, so essentially what Les Brown is saying is that, like, if you just focus on 85% of the negative thoughts in your head every day, right? Because you're programmed, most people are programmed to think in negative thoughts, right? So if you focus on that, he's pretty much saying that you're never going to really live your purpose, your truest purpose, because you're like putting yourself down every single day. And then what does this do to your self-confidence? It just plummets and keeps going down. I mean, it makes sense, right? But here's the thing. If you don't know what you don't know, I mean, this is like the biggest problem, right? So this is why I think reading will kind of help you be aware of that problem, right? Be aware of that, like the ignorance, like you don't even know what's going on. Like, I mean, I didn't know for 35 years. Before I started reading, I didn't even know this was happening. My whole life was just programmed this way. I had no idea. So, I mean, I don't even feel bad, for other people. It's just kind of like, I mean, what I'm saying is, like, don't feel bad. It's just like, it's good to learn eventually though, right? So right here, right? But then it says, that means that 15% is positive and it wants you to win. So you have, it's kind of like, you might see like a cartoon or something where like you got the devil, which is, I guess, like the 85% negative, and then you got like, you got like God, or you got like Jesus on the right, like an angel on the right side, and then that's like the 15% positive thinking. Now what Les Brown is saying here in the book is that, you have both of these in your head, right? But like most people just focus on the negative, but instead you should focus on the positive. And Les Brown is saying, if you do train your mind, instead of just reacting to a bad situation, right? You're just like, someone calls you like stupid or something, and then you reacted, then now you're just thinking negative, like, yeah, screw that guy. Like, you gotta like learn to just level out like this on this level playing field, and kind of like just snap back to reality. Like, who cares whatever anybody said? Just focus on the positive thoughts. But again, if your whole life you've just been programmed to just react and focus on the negative, I mean, this is all your mind is going to go to. So essentially what he's saying is if you focus on the positive, the 15%, then you could actually win. And this is what he's saying. So if you do win, there's this unlimited abundance out there. And you're finally, instead of being at this low level of frequency wave, state of mind of thinking, you're up here on this higher wave of frequency. And now you're finally winning, because guess what? People up here that think up here and not down here, they're all trying to fight and cheat and nobody really knows. They're trying to hold all their money, because they barely have enough. But then if you think up here, you're finally thinking on a level of like, what can I give to the world instead of like, what can I take? Because guess what? If you're giving, right? Your resources, your knowledge, your skills, you're like teaching other people things, right? You're telling them like, oh, this is what I found or something. Like if you keep giving, guess what happens to the world, in the universe? That energy will come back. And I fully 100% agree with this. But I do understand that if you don't have anything and you're living in this scarcity mindset where you're just always in fear and afraid, and you're like, well, I don't know how to do it, and you're always, you're just stuck in this loop of this, like, you're just scared all the time. And I realized I was doing that, and I was like, oh my God, I couldn't even understand what was happening. So the biggest challenge that you will have in life is yourself. I mean, that's also true, right? When there is no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. I mean, people have probably thought that many times. So that's the thing, And then also here, another quick thing too is the power of motivation, right? He says, this kind of goes back to the affirmations that I talked about a little bit. On page 205, once you zero in on your goal and know exactly what you want in life, then read it 3 times a day, morning, noon, and night. And essentially what this does is, back to the affirmations that I brought up, you are now creating a picture in your mind, and you are, every time you say it, you're envisioning yourself in that dream or in that new reality. So first it has to take a picture. So this is the teachings of Bob Proctor. This isn't Les Brown, but Bob Proctor, because I've been listening and reading about his book too, a little bit too, on the side. And what he says is like, first you have to take a picture in your mind. You have to envision it. And then from that vision of yourself inside, like you are taking a picture of you, like what your goal is. Okay, like, oh, I want to be a public speaker, a professional public speaker that talks on stage in front of thousands of people. Like, that's my goal. I take a picture first in my mind, then I take it back out into reality. And eventually, if I keep telling myself and envisioning that every day, right? Morning, noon, and night, then it's like this affirmation that you essentially will keep thinking like that, because this is all, when you keep thinking about stuff and you're focusing on that kind of stuff, essentially what happens with the affirmation is you start acting as that person. Like, I am a successful person because this is what I keep seeing myself thinking about, so now I do it. So then you just want to keep learning about it, reading how to be a professional speaker, talking about it. And maybe you need a mentor. I mean, Les Brown recommends you get a mentor anyways. Like pretty much have a mentor that has done something that you want to do, but that mentor has already done it. So essentially you're just copying what the mentor has done, but you're adding your own personal touch to it. So you're adding your own personality, and then you just get fully, like, you get so enticed and you get so engrossed in this, and it's like you should be excited about this. I mean, I started getting super excited. Like, literally when I had to go to sleep, I was like, yo, I can't wait until I can finish this book. And I just kept wanting to read. And I was like, yo, I almost, like, there were some days where I didn't even want to work out after work. I just wanted to read right away. But I was like, no, we still got to work out, but let's read. So I mean, it's just so crazy. So let's see. I want to read a couple more real quick. The power. Oh, see, that's another thing. The power of giving. That's like, I was kind of talking about that a little bit. I'll just talk about it real briefly here. Let's see. Okay, I mean, there's this quote here on page 218. Judge a man not by what he does, but by that which he doesn't have to do. And to judge the true quality of a man is what he do when no one is looking. So Les Brown kind of says here that, like, you know, there's some people where they like give, let's say they give money, or maybe they give something, right? Some kind of object or whatever, but they do it for recognition. So Les Brown is saying in this situation, it's not really like in the goodness of his heart or her heart, right? They're trying to get it for recognition. So the whole point of giving in this point of view is you're supposed to essentially just give and not expect anything in return. And that's essentially the goal here. So you just give, you don't expect anything. If you do get something, great, but the whole point of it is supposed to be pure just giving. So, because, you know, he believes, which I believe too, is like, whatever you give out into the world, the universe will come back and give it back to you. So so this is what he's talking about, the higher frequency of like, if you give, you will have unlimited abundance of whatever you need. So like all your needs will be met. You'll have full abundance. You'll have full autonomy over your life. Because guess what happens? If you give people knowledge, you give people, you know, advice, you give people something that they need. So the other thing is, are you giving people, you know, like a solution to a problem? Because if you're doing that, you're going to give back tenfold, 100-fold, 1,000-fold, right? Depends on what kind of like career path it is. But if you're solving a big problem and you're creating a solution for a huge problem that is in deep need, right? Guess what happens? You're not asking for money. You're a genuine person. You're just, obviously you need money to survive, but like the point of it is you just keep giving and then you receive. And this is it. And this is what he's talking about. You just kind of keep giving, the power of giving. I mean, that's just awesome, right? So I'm going to say, let's see. Okay, let's do page 224. It says Earl Nightingale, which is another great guy to listen to, or I'm going to read some of his books later. He said, our success in life is directly related to the quantity and the quality of the service that we give. So 225, people need to be given the opportunity to take responsibility, to contribute and invest in life. And then life is appreciated. Yep. Right. So here's another one that's really important here. So it's actually a quote from the Bible, but it's also on page 226 in the book The Power of Purpose by Les Brown. So he says, so it's going to be kind of like Old English a little bit, but it says, for he that hath to give, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whoever hath not, from him shall be taken, even that which he hath. So in like the modern terms of like explaining that, pretty much the modern version of the Bible, it says like, for he that has, right, he shall be given, right, more abundance. So whoever has, whoever already has abundance, but you can only have abundance in this case if you're giving. So you will have more of it because you keep giving. So it's like a cycle. So you're giving out into the world and then you're receiving. And in this case, it's abundance. But then he says, from him that, but for whoever has not, who doesn't have abundance or doesn't give, shall be taken from, even of little which they have. So in this case, it's like even if you have nothing or you almost have nothing, then it will be even taken from you, even though you have less. And you might think, oh, this isn't fair. This doesn't make any sense. At first I thought, damn, that seems kind of cruel. But the way it's explained or interpreted is that the whole point of that is because someone like that is not sharing. So like, it's like sharing is caring. Like the whole point of this is to, like, even if you don't have that much, always try to give. And it doesn't mean money. If you don't have money to give, that's not what they're saying. They're saying, like, give something. Don't just, like, kind of like close yourself off to the world and be like, screw everybody else. Like, the whole point of it is to give something. So maybe you give your time, maybe you give some knowledge, maybe you're giving some advice, maybe you're like helping a friend out, or maybe a colleague or a coworker. Like, you're giving something. You shouldn't just be like mad at the world and like, screw you, or why are you looking at me, and like, no, I don't have any money to give. Like if you're like that, generally, so what it's explaining is like, it's gonna take what little that you already have. So don't do that. Don't be that guy or gal, okay? So, I mean, once I started listening to that, I was like, damn, that makes a lot of sense, So whatever you have, you can still give. It doesn't mean it has to be money. It just means you have to give something. So, there's that. All right. Okay, I'm gonna read a little short affirmation here. By Les Brown, and he's talking about the power of giving. So anybody can use these. I wrote them down here because I thought they were important. So for example, he says, I want life to use me. I want to give more, share more, be an expression of love, be an instrument of hope, to impact our youth, to recreate their future. I'm grateful for life. I'm grateful for being here. I'm grateful to be able to serve. I'm grateful. So, some people might think, oh, well, what does this even matter? But Les Brown, a lot of times in the book, he says that if you're grateful with whatever you have in life, doesn't matter what level of, financial status or how old you are, how young you are, if you start saying every day that you're grateful, even just for like the meal that you're about to eat, or like, I'm grateful that I'm alive, or I'm grateful for this beautiful day, or I'm grateful for my car, just anything you can think of. If you just start saying this will start creating energy around you, and you will feel better. And when you feel better, people want to be around you. So now you're tapping into that 15% of positive energy instead of focusing on the majority, 85% negative energy. So the whole point of these affirmations, even if you don't believe it, you should at least just try it. I mean, what do you have to lose? Like, your life is going to be the same. I mean, you're not going to lose anything, right? So you might as well at least try it, right? And just see how it is for you. I mean, it might completely change your whole outlook on life. Who knows? I mean, it changed for me, and I'm just doing it every day now. And I do morning affirmations, but I kind of do them whenever I have some downtime, or if I'm just like, sometimes I'm just in the car, I don't want to listen to any music, and I just kind of like, I just start saying them in my head, like, oh, I'm grateful for today. Or I'll say like, certain things I want is like, I want to be healthy, a healthy person. So I'll say like, I am grateful that I'm a healthy person. Even if I'm like not there yet, when I tell myself that I am a healthy person, I just start thinking and acting as a healthy person. And this is just what I do. And now it's like, I mean, it's so crazy. I mean, in the last video, I talk about, I haven't had energy drinks, soda, candy, fast food, junk food, like all that stuff. I literally just eliminated from my life. And like, it's so crazy. Like, a lot of it is just like, I wanted to do it, but the other reason was like the affirmation of like, I want to be a healthy person. And it's like, somehow it's like, I don't even have cravings. It's just, It just went away. I don't even know how to explain it. I mean, I don't know. I think because I really believe that I'm a healthy person. So, yeah. And, you know, we got a couple more chapters here. Like the last one is chapter 17, The Power of Perseverance. I mean, this one is really cool because it's like, no matter what, you have to just try to make it happen. And, you know, I'm just going to read right here. Like, you need to have the will to make your dreams a reality. Don't worry how it will work. Just understand that if you have the will, then everything else will fall into alignment. The energy of the universe will come to you. I mean, that one is still kind of like a little iffy for me, but at the same time, I do kind of believe it because it's like every time I believe that I could do something and I kind of just like let go and I don't think about the negative, you know, I'm focusing on the 15% positive, I just feel better. So when I feel better, guess what happens? I start reading more and I start learning more and I just start acting as if I was already a good public speaker. And I already cut out all the junk food, all the bad food that I'm eating. So now I can think better. I mean, I'm just going to keep going with the flow each day that I can. All I could do now is focus on the present. That's it. So, yeah, I mean, that was kind of a little longer than I expected, but you know what? That was awesome. So yeah, that was an hour. Okay. But yeah, this was Les Brown, The Power of Purpose, How to Create the Life You Always Wanted. And, you know, if you never heard of the book or you never read it, I would suggest checking it out. I got it on Amazon for $10. First book I read so far this year and in the last 10 years, and it only took me 2.5 weeks with notes, right? But yeah, pretty much reading has changed my life now. So hopefully it changes yours too. I think it could. So I just talked for an hour about the book, and I'll keep updating you on more stuff, and I'm gonna keep reading. I didn't forget about my channel. I just I didn't really want to post anything because I just kept reading. And I really got consumed and just like excited about reading the book. So yeah, anyways, until next time, stay true to yourself and life will get better. Peace.